is 8-Ball, the 65 Mustang that I have basically restored from the ground up. I've supercharged the nearly blown up 302 until it blew all the way up a couple weeks ago. Insert clip here. So wrong. It's getting worse. No! For the glory! For the glory! Come on! So basically, 8-Ball's 302 is completely seized. It does not do anything at all when you turn the key. So my solution to this problem is this 500 horsepower 331 stroker that's gonna make 8-Ball a death trap. So now, let's get to work! This thing sounds crazy. I've owned 8-Ball for like 6 months now after trading it for a crappy Dodge Charger. I fell in love with it in its ratty state and then proceeded to supercharge it and do a full paint job and a full suspension job and a disc brake swap. And now it's actually a really good driver, or at least it was, until the engine seized. So now basically I just gotta yank the old engine out and slide that new engine in and then proceed to brake everything, including the stock drive shaft and the stock axles and possibly even the $800 marketplace Toploader 4-speed I put in the last video. It's probably all gonna break, but it's gonna be so awesome. Now, if you didn't see the whole raw clip on Patreon, this thing disgustingly blew up. Look at the dipstick, look at all the different sludges on it. It's got coolant in there, chunks of metal, chunks of burned gasket, and it smells awful. I wish you guys could smell this through the camera. It smells like the engine disintegrated in a toxic waste puddle or something. It smells horrible. And I'm really excited to get rid of it. What are you doing in there? What are you filming? You filming my goop? You filming my little goop collection down there? A little puddle of oil and coolant and rainwater. Coolant first. There wasn't much in there. There's like a half a gallon of coolant in there. Where did it all go, I wonder? First thing I'm gonna do is disconnect all the wiring. I'm gonna take off the intake, supercharger, distributor, cooling system, all the fun stuff like that. Get everything out of the way. I haven't really considered any of the consequences of overheating this engine to absolute nuclear levels. I really hope that $400 distributor isn't like destroyed. It'd be funny if it like welded itself to the cam gear. Okay, broke it twisty loose. What the hell am I? Hammer? Okay, wait a minute. Come on out for me. We got horsepower to make. Distributor out. Oh, all this wiring melted. Look at that. The intake got so hot. Who would have thought plastic will melt when it reaches insane temperatures? Catch can. Off. Icky. Icky. Carburetor. And carburetor spacer. Ooh, the supercharger is looking great. Full of condensation and such. That's really awesome and good, I think. Maybe not. Am I gonna run it still? Yeah. If you might have forgotten, just about every modification I've done to this car has come from used parts off Marketplace that are untested and unproven, including this supercharger, which I think I paid like $700 for altogether. It seems to be working. I hope it continues to, though. I have been skeptical of this ever since the first video of this being supercharged went live. Somebody commented that I accidentally stacked part of the old gasket and the new gasket. And it is now clear that I did. The supercharger was 1.5 gasketed. I'm a dumbass. That made a mess. Alternator. Belt. Off. Cut. Cut! No! Crank pulley and custom spacer out. taking the spark plugs out now, and oh, can anyone tell me what causes them to look like this? They currently have 0 gap. That's probably not good. I'm gonna go out on a limb and say they shouldn't look like that. Now I gotta put it up on the lift, remove the exhaust, unbolt the motor mounts, and unbolt the bell housing. As you can see, the car currently has speedy snaps and no boom tubes, and that's because over the winter I was driving it a decent bit, and honestly, it did not sound good. The bone stock tired 302 did not sound good without mufflers, so I just tossed these on, but don't worry, she's getting boom tubes again. Exhaust off. It is very oily. That old motor hissed oil. Starter. Oh yeah. Motor mounts. Do love that the motor mounts just pop straight down in. That's actually going to be pretty easy when it comes to reinstalling. Probably should order new ones though, because I don't know how nice they are. The Z-bar bracket is in a very annoying place to get to, but I have to remove it to get the headers out because the headers snake around the Z-bar. The Z-bar, if you don't know, is the clutch linkage. It basically is just a pivot point from the pedal rod to the clutch rod, you know? You push the pedal, it does this, pushes the clutch, yay, right? Now, unbolting it, thankfully, we have lots of power tools that make it slightly easier, maybe. Front bolt, which is closer to the steering box and is gonna be a pain to get out. Maybe I'll put my big boy pants on and actually unbolt that with a normal wrench. Now the problem here is just that I have, like, as you can see, no range of motion. Don't have a great swing on this here. All right, now, bolt number 2, out. Gotta undo the clutch linkage on the bottom, and then it'll pop off and slide out of the way. Cameraman was also very nice to remove the header bolts. Passenger side actually looked really easy. Going to come out like that. Super duper easily. Driver side, not gonna be easy. So I'm gonna lift it up, undo the clutch linkage. Hopefully we can snake it out. Right here, this is the little thing that pushes the clutch fork, disengages the clutch. Now, I believe the Z-bar should be able to come out. Can I snake it through? That'd be real nice if I could. Please snake on through here, baby girl. Come on. Oh, honestly, a little easier than I thought. Hopefully, I can get the driver header out now. Be nice to me. Ooh, it's tight in there, huh? You guys see that? There was a lot of water in that header. Interesting. There's a possibility this header's gonna have to come out while we have the motor lifted up, which is a pain in the ass, but it looks like it's stuck on the shock tower up here. But before I do that, last thing I have to do is undo the bell housing bolts. They're right here. Pretty easy. I think I have grossly underestimated the amount of like junky parts that are on this car right now that are okay because it made like 200 horsepower, but throwing closer to 500 horsepower at it is going to find many weak links. The top 2 bell housing bolts were very loose. I did not even need the wrench. And just like that, bell housing ready to, you know, pop off. Bolting that right into the cylinder head. Nice chain there. I think we're about ready to yank. I'm gonna have to lift this up a little bit just out of the motor mounts. I'm gonna have to snake the header out from underneath, and then we're gonna have to shimmy it off of the transmission. That input shaft out, and then up we go. Gonna chain it probably right here. It's about in the middle. Actually, I'll go 1 link ahead of the middle. Hopefully it gives it a little bit of dangle, so we might want that. Like I said, first, I just want to get her up out of the motor mounts. Oh yeah. I feel like I could probably snake the headers out now, so. Oh yeah. Adios, header. Get that wait for me. Header. No longer a problem. Now I'm jacking the transmission up to support it so when we pull the motor out, the trans doesn't go ka-donk onto the floor. And also to give it a little bit of an upward angle. That'll help us. Now I'm going to snug up on her a little bit. Oh, mama. Here you come. Okay. Hop on out for me. There she she is. Oh, yeah, 302. Come on out for me, please. I don't care if I drop this motor on the floor. All right, quick check to make sure I'm not gonna rip anything out. I think I can see where a head gasket blew. Nice. Hope I don't scratch my $200 tractor paint. Watch out, cameraman, it's coming for you. What if I just drop it down so fast?
You won't.
Ka-dunk!
You won't.
I really want to, but I'm afraid I might need this oil pan, so I will not be doing that. Just like that. 8 balls blown up mystery engine. I don't actually know if it's a 302 or a 289. It's out. Day number 2 of engine swap mania on 8 ball. I'm jacking up the seized engine right now because I have to rob parts off of it, including the oil pan and the motor mounts, because I didn't buy motor mounts. But in order to do that, I'm gonna drain the oil and let's see how horrible it looks. I know it's going to smell horrible, and I'm not actually excited to get it anywhere near me. Keep in mind, guys, we changed this oil under 100 miles ago. I haven't put 100 miles on this car. I might not have even put 50 miles on this car since we changed the oil. Ooh, there was some water in there. Yeah, interesting. I see a lot of metal. Look at the alarming amount of metal dust in there. Alarming. It smells horrendous. That's like gear oil if it went rancid. And you guys know how bad gear oil smells. That's I guess how I can describe the scent of this engine. Oil pan. Ooh. It's been on there for a couple decades. I didn't order motor mounts. These ones are old. Probably older than me. Probably older than you.
Tom was the same age.
I wasn't talking to you. I was talking to you. That ought to work. Damn, that thing is sealed. It's because there's still a bolt in it. That's absolutely crazy. Wow, Tom, you're a idiot, everyone says. Wow. Look in there. Yikes. That's Sludge City, baby. Ugh, it reeks in there still. I'm probably also gonna need to use the oil pump pickup because I'm changing pans. So I'm gonna pop that off as well. I highly recommend, guys, if you have a motor that's on its last legs, you should surely do what I did. Blow a head gasket and then drive it until it explodes. I don't know if you can tell or not, but this is solid sludge. See that? Made out of a multitude of things. Probably gaskets and carbon buildup. All right, cameraman, you can clean this. I'm gonna go take a nap. If you're wondering what is inside of the engine of your marketplace classic Mustang, there's a real possibility it looks something like this. Now, granted, I did drive this car for about 20 minutes at absolutely nuclear temperatures. Oh my God. Look at that. That is not great. There's also very clear head gasket sludge up in here, which has sat in here long enough to start surface rusting. So we have to clean this out like really well. Dude, your girlfriend takes you home for the first time to her good old family's home cooking, and her mom slaps down a plate of something that looks just like this. Do you eat it? Do you be a good boyfriend? I'll eat it right now.
All right, eat it right now.
What do you mean, the mystery gray sludge of doom? Look at that, no more sludge. Thanks, cameraman. Cameraman did that.
See how satisfying that is?
It is satisfying. Not really satisfying enough to make me want to do it, but I'm glad you found joy in it. Next step. I am proud to say we have harvested a piece of piston and a piece of piston ring. So my guess is if we yank those heads off, there is going to be a crushed piston, possibly even sideways in there. So we might do that because I kind of want to see. But right now I'm going to turn this into a keychain that will forever live on 8 ball, just to mark its first engine. Perfect. A memory of 302 number 1. Mr. Oil Pump. There it is. Bada bing, bada boom. Is the oil pump seized? It kind of feels like it. Who would have thought the oil pump would seize after you get the engine to like 350 to 400 degrees, maybe even 500 degrees? Who would have thought the oil pump would seize? Motor mounts removed. This is the factory 1965 Mustang engine mount. As you can see, it consists of this piece here that bolts to the engine block, which is really a piece of steel riveted / glued to this big hunk of rubber. That rubber bolts to this large angled steel here. The problem is, once you introduce real horsepower into the mix, the rubber separates from the part that bolts to the engine block, and then the motor goes ha-dunk, ha-dunk, and it's really annoying. So we have made this modification multiple times to many different sets of engine mounts, so I'm gonna show you how to do it. It costs like $3. Step 1, motor mount in the vise. Step 2, find a totally not random spot. Step 3, drill. You may notice these are hardened steel and will take a very long time to drill through. I made it through. I went to the hardware store and got some grade 8 bolts, which I have ran through here with lock nuts. All I gotta do is get them snug, but not actually tight, because I don't want to cinch down the rubber. This right here is just a protective barrier against that rubber and metal peeling apart, and the engine going gadong, gadong, gadong. So I'm calling that fixed. We are now here with the oil pan that cameraman was awesome enough to clean up and prep, so it's ready for a coat of paint. I'm not going crazy. I have basic paint primer Rust-Oleum here with a fancy cap on it. So I'm gonna get this nice and hot so the paint will dry fast. That's nice and warm. Oh yeah, look at that. I don't really care if it flakes off over time. This looks so good. Wow, so nice. Good job, Tom. Refurbished. I got one more thing I really want to yank off this motor, which is the timing cover. I want to use it on the new motor because it has the proper dipstick for the oil pan we just removed. Now, in order to do that, I got to take off the water pump and the damper. And here's a fun trick for removing a damper. Eyeball the center hole there. And then take a drill bit and create yourself a little bitty spot right there. Because every crank puller I've ever used loves to walk right off that bolt, and it drives me insane. First thing I'm gonna do, get that bolt just about out. Remove the washer from it so that the balancer can be removed around the bolt. Then I'm gonna install it with, I'd say most of its threads. And then we take our puller. You know what? I need a better hole. All right, those are not gonna stay on. You can still give it a try though. Oh, look at that. That was much easier than it usually is. Water pump can come off first. I will be replacing it. Good job, Tom. You broke a bolt in the timing cover. You're a genius. I'm a genius. That right there is why you don't do everything I do, or maybe even anything I do, because I just caused myself to have to do more work. Water pump. Water pump itself is probably fine, but I'm gonna put a new one on there. And I'm really dumb and just broke a bolt in the timing cover, so I'm gonna have to fix that real quick. Timing cover, now off. Ugh, look at this sludge fest. I'm confident that motor was like that when I got the car too. Just full of shit. Let me fix this real quick, because I'm a dumbass.
One eternity later.
Hell yeah, I believe this is attempt number 6. Out we come, repaired. I lied, I'm not done rubbing parts. I'm gonna steal the flywheel and I'm gonna steal the valve covers. It was actually perfect timing that all of this happened, because the clutch that was on the car was getting completely spanked. Clutches should not, look like that. That's not a good flywheel surface to have. Gonna keep this and this. Never know when you're gonna need a cheap set of stamped valve covers. I have never pulled one of these off, which I probably should have a long time ago, but it's looking nasty in there. This might have been a 289. I've been calling it a 302 for so long. Oh, it is a 289. It says so on the block. All right, well, everybody, forgive me for mistaking this for the entirety of this video. Honestly, what if it was the original 289? Because this car was a V8 3-speed. This might have been the original motor in 8-ball. Not getting my hopes up, and I also don't give a shit, but that might have been the original 289. Also, you want to keep these, the reusable valve cover gaskets. They're awesome. Something to catch the fluids, and I've always wanted to do this. And it doesn't matter. For shits and giggles, I'm gonna go pull one of the heads off, or maybe both, just to see how horrible it is.
Dude, it melted pistons. Oh my god. What is that? Rust? Oh, dude. I've never genuinely melted pistons before.
Cameraman just made an excellent point. That weird white stuff on the spark plugs was totally molten aluminum or cast, whatever material the pistons are. They kind of look like cast aluminum. So I'm guessing that was just molten aluminum gumming up the plugs. That's insane. Now it's time to start playing with the fun motor. I shouldn't be doing that. Now we may start assembling this. First things first, off comes the oil pan. I'll be able to bolt this pickup right on there. Perfect. It's a new day, and I'm hoping today's the day this motor goes into 8-ball. Last night I came here and got the timing cover cleaned up, painted, and put a new seal in it. So today, it's time to get this motor fully assembled and dropped in the car. First thing I'm doing is removing the pickup from the seized oil pump off the 289, setting it aside, and I'm gonna remove this very large pickup that was on this oil pan. The gasket on this pickup looks fine, so I'm probably gonna reuse it, but I am gonna clean this out heftily because it might have sludge in it. Old motor pickup is all cleaned up. Got a new gasket here. Gonna slap it on, torque it down. "25 foot-pounds on these. Taking off this timing cover and using the one off of the original 289 will allow me to use the dipstick that matches the 289's oil pan and the mechanical fuel pump and the old style water pump, which will work with the Mustang's old style accessories. Although I am upgrading the accessory drive, the alignment should be the same. Next thing I need to install is this, which bolts onto the cam gear. And this is kind of like a little camshaft lobe of its own that drives the mechanical fuel pump. But the problem is it's full of sludge. Some brake clean and some rags got that super nice. Now I'm gonna unbolt the cam gear. That right there is the camshaft dowel pin off the 289, which we're gonna need to rob for that because it's longer and allows us to use that extra fuel pump lobe. I have lined this up dot to dot because I'm gonna probably be popping this top cam gear off just to swap this dowel pin. And this dowel pin came out really easily of the engine that went to nuclear temperatures, so I'm hoping that the one in this one will be the same. Cam gear, come on out for me. Very carefully set this aside. Cam gear and timing chain. Well, after lots more fighting off camera, I've decided to give up on that dowel pin swap and to instead just keep the electric fuel pump that I've had all along. I wanted to go back to mechanical because it's simpler and it's more predictable than the crappy electric fuel pumps, but whatever. It'll be fine. Get that torque back down. So sad, but I also don't really care that much.
Just get it a little bit extra in case this thing is warped and destroyed because it reached 8,000 degrees. What is the melting point of aluminum?
948 degrees Celsius.
Okay. Watch me do all this work and then have a coolant leak. I'll kill a man, specifically a cameraman. I've gotten one side set up. Bada bing.
Timing cover, 1 bolt torqued, 2 bolts torqued, 3 bolts torqued, 4 bolts torqued. You just get these top ones torqued as well. Torqued and torqued. Now, water pump. Moving on to the water pump. As you can see, there is a broken bolt in the timing cover that I welded countless nuts to and tried to get it out off camera yesterday with no success. But I do think there are enough other bolts that hold the water pump on that it won't leak. I'm also gonna goop the out of it in this general vicinity to make sure that it does not leak. Cameraman had to run and get some hardware, so I'm currently coating the headers in grill paint. This is what they look like before, and that's what they look like after. Not a bad improvement for like $8. Cameraman's back from the hardware store, so we can get this water pump finished up. That's looking like torque to me, minus the one missing bolt, but it'll be all right. Now it's time to install the oil pan. I got this nice blue Velcro gasket, and you want to goop up the corners around the timing cover with silicone, and I'm gonna do the same with the back too, because that's where they commonly like to leak. Safety seal here just in case, give it a little extra. Oil pan can go up into position. They include these nice little blue studs too to make it a hell of a lot easier to get things started. Pop. Pop. Torque to spec. I may have broke a bolt, but thankfully I fixed it. Before I toss this motor in, I'm gonna put valve covers on it so the rockers stay nice and protected. We're using the valve cover gaskets off the 289, and I happen to have these up in the parts shelf. Very fast looking aluminum valve covers. Modified motor mounts can go on. I have Loctite and lock washers on them, so hopefully they don't come loose. It has been 3 whole days since we filmed, and I've been able to make no progress because I'm at the mercy of a clutch. Literally 3 weeks ago, I ordered a brand new clutch and a brand new flywheel, and I got the flywheel and thought the clutch came with it. But then Friday I realized, the clutch didn't come. And then I looked at the website, and the website said the clutch was gonna ship within 7 weeks. That's a long time. So I ordered another clutch Friday, hoping it would be here today, and it is not. So I'm currently at the mercy of that missing clutch. Can't put the motor in, can't hook the motor up, can't make it run yet. So I'm going to try to work on as many little things as I can to make it easy for this motor to go together and back in the car when I do get that clutch. Starting with this brand new aluminum McLeod flywheel. I gotta put a 28-ounce counterweight on it because this engine has a 28-ounce balance. And once that's ready, I could bolt it on just so we're ready for that clutch as soon as it comes in. I really wish it were here today, but it is not. Counterweight, torqued to 30 foot-pounds. Next thing I shall do is install the flywheel dowel pins. And boom. Wow, those actually go in really satisfyingly.
Look at that. That's sexy.
One more. Perfect. Dowel pins installed. To install the flywheel, put this cover on first. I'm gonna get it nice and clean just to make sure there's no oil that's gonna drip or fling off of it onto our new flywheel. Now I can take said flywheel. I gotta find out which way it lines up because these only go on one way. And I have found it. Slip and slide on there for me. Now because I plan to rev the shit out of this thing, I also got ARP hardware so this flywheel will not shear the bolts off. Speaking of, I don't know if I mentioned, it's a lightweight aluminum flywheel, which should make the car rev snappy, like, you know, boom, boom, that's what I want. So this will keep the flywheel from shearing off, slicing through the bell housing, and cutting my legs off. Now for 70 foot-pounds. Come on, baby. Uh-oh. Why did that feel like it got looser? 60 foot-pounds. Uh-oh. Oh, me. What the wrong with this torque wrench? It could just be that the flywheel is moving and tightening, or it could be that I just stripped those. Both scenarios are really bad news. This is stressful. But the threads look fine, so I'm gonna go off on a limb and say that the flywheel is just sinking in a little more. But that's really scary. I did not like that. That was not fun. Not a fun game at all. All right, now before I go straight to 70, I think I'm gonna do another round at 50. First, I'm gonna hit those two that I just loosened with 40 again. You get all this? Is this confusing or what? 40, 40, 40, 40, and that one's stripped. How? It looks like I need longer bolts. Thankfully, it's stripped like a 1/4 inch of thread, and there's still a lot of thread in there. I just need longer bolts. So I'm going to stop right now, and I'm gonna get longer bolts. Nothing's easy or going well on this stupid ass engine. Do you guys see how ugly all of the wiring is in this engine bay? We have all of the things that I have added and spliced in, and we also have all the factory wiring for both the lights and the factory engine controls and alternator. Now I've decided, because I'm at a standstill for parts, I'm gonna gut all of the wiring I don't need. I can do that because I will be upgrading to a 1-wire alternator, so I can gut all the factory alternator wiring. I have already upgraded the ignition to MSD ignition, so I can get rid of the point style ignition and all of its wiring. And I'm also not using the factory gauges anymore. I'm gonna install mechanical gauges, so I can yank out all the wiring for that too. You guys also may remember 8-Ball did not have both working headlights when I got it, and that's because the harness was messed up. So after I got out all the stock wiring, I'm gonna replace the headlight harness so I have headlights. I'm doing this because I pretty much can't do anything else until I get the parts in that I need. So let me start gutting. I have gutted the alternator wiring because I'm converting it to 1 wire. I have gutted the horn wiring and will be removing the horns because race cars don't need horns. I am removing the voltage regulator and its wiring because we don't need that with MSD ignition. I'm also gonna undo and clean up all of the wiring I've added for everything aftermarket because I did it kind of rushed and sloppily, and now that I'm investing too much money and time into the car, I may as well make the wiring look a little better. The horns barely worked anyways. Headlight harness can now go away. Need this where we're going. Ooh. Ew. This is also giving me the chance to shorten up my fuel line here and remount the fuel pump to a better place. You know, maybe it's a good thing that I have to wait on all these parts. It's gonna make the engine bay look a hell of a lot cleaner. Update, I've cleaned up most of this wiring here, as you can see. I've simplified it, tied it up, started to loom it. I've got the fuel pump clocked in a different direction with less fuel line. It's looking a lot better. Now I just want to finish cleaning this up, taping everything so it looks nice and factory. But there's already more space in here, and hopefully the headlights work when I'm done. But they might not. 3 straight hours later, I'm done wiring. And honestly, I'm glad we hit this roadblock because the engine bay was bugging the hell out of me. All the wires just sprawled everywhere, drove me crazy, and I was able to get rid of so much stuff I didn't need, so many old modules and wires. I rewired the headlights, which work now. I have 2 working headlights. I tied up the MSD wiring, redid the fuel pump, and I even tossed a fresh coat of paint on the engine bay because we got a ton of overspray on it when we painted the car. Hello, and welcome to hopefully the last day of 8Ball's engine install. I want this thing fired up today, but we have a lot of work to get this motor into the car. Starting with the flywheel. The other day, I got the flywheel all ready to go on and started installing it, but I had the wrong length bolts. And I tried to torque one down, and I might have stripped a 1/2 inch of the threads out of the crankshaft. So There is one bolt hole that might not be getting torqued to 80 foot-pounds, but hopefully we can get the rest of them torqued down to 80 foot-pounds. So I got these all assembly lubed and Loctited. Now I just got to start them and then tighten them gradually. And this one right here is the problem child. This one bolt hole was pretty sketchy, so I'm running a tap through it just to make sure the threads are okay. I know these two holes I partially stripped trying to torque down the bolts the other day, which was really dumb and it's not good, but I know at worst I'll get these ones torqued down properly and I'll get these ones tight. They have Loctite on them, it'll be okay. Got the bolts back in on the two super worrisome holes. I'm not gonna be able to hit them with 80 foot-pounds, but we should be able to do 40 to 50, maybe. I'm gonna pray to God that I didn't accidentally strip any other ones. Okay, 40 there. 40. 40. 40. Okay, those are the bolts that didn't strip the other day. Now, let's try to hit one of these with 40. If it feels like it's gonna strip, I'm gonna stop. Okay, she took 40. Okay, they also took 40. I'm gonna crank it up to 50. Good bolts first. 50. 50. 50. Okay. Now, will the bad bolts take 50? Keep in mind, stock torque spec is 60. So if I can get 60, I'm fine. Although ARP says 80. 1. 2 is at 50. Okay. Go up to 70. 1, 2, 4. I don't have high hopes on the bad bolts getting 70, but I'm gonna feel it. Even cameraman's face looks stressed out right now. 70. Please. 70. I might leave those at 70 because that's stock torque spec, and I think 80 might strip them. So we're gonna hit the remaining good bolts with 85 foot-pounds, which is what the instruction says to do. Hey, as a wise man once said, whoops. 1, 2, 3, 4. Should I try a bad bolt at 85 or should I just leave them at 70?
What if we went up to like 80?
Yeah, well, let's do incremental on the bad bolts. Well, they take 75. Come on, baby. Be nice to me. Okay, getting there. Okay, we took 75. 80. 80. Okay, I'm done. Hey, 80? That's good enough for your boy. Those are torqued down. I am gonna go have a heart attack outside. Now, I may open up the McLeod RST twin disc clutch. Exact same clutch I have in noise complaint. It's treated me very well, so I'm using it in any fault. In preparation for the clutch install, I'm getting the flywheel oh so clean and dry. I want nothing on here. No oil, no goop. First thing I install is the main clutch disc. I've aligned the first clutch disc on the dowel pins. Might I say, this is very stressful, doing this correctly. Adapter ring, bolts get torqued down to 35 foot-pounds. Now, we can go ahead and align and install the next clutch disc. Oh boy, I'm getting excited. Bada bing, bada boom. With the clutch alignment tool in place, I'm snugging these bolts up just a little bit at a time. Clutch gets torqued down to 25 foot-pounds, then 35, so 25. Clutch is installed. Now let's slide this thing in. Before we drop the motor in, I'm coming up here to the transmission to replace the throwout bearing because this one's super old and greasy, and I bought this beautiful new one right here. How to install a harmonic balancer. Start it with a hammer, then finish it with an impact. When you hear the impact change noises, when it goes, that means it's tight and it's torqued. All right, plop this bad boy in. Hey, cameraman.
Yeah.
You think I should go over the engine specs yet?
Nah.
Okay. Welcome to the tripod. Yeah! Yeah! There's a motor in the car, kinda, almost. I got the bell housing bolt started. Cameraman's gonna climb underneath with the driver's side header because we can't get the header in and out unless the motor's lifted up. So before I plop the motor down into the motor mount holes, we're gonna feed the header up and hopefully I can get it in. Dang, those headers are tight. Header in place. Then we start 2 header bolts on it. I know I can get the passenger side on without lifting the motor up, but starting the header bolt, it's not that fun. That is the one thing I noticed about this motor that was gonna suck. The header bolts are like half stripped. All right, 2 header bolts are started. I have started all the bell housing bolts that I can and gotten them finger tight, so I think I can just plop this motor on down into the motor mount holes. I got all of the header bolts started on this side. Now I'm gonna do the passenger side. This side has a lot more room for activities.
There we go.
It's always the dumb that you never think about. It turns out to take the most time. I'm tightening all the header bolts that I can access easily right now with the impact. And then we're gonna have to tighten the rest by hand with just normal open-end wrenches. Now I'm tightening this side while cameraman finishes off the passenger side. Good job. Last one, boom, tight. Headers are installed. Now my next fear is that my aftermarket Z-bar linkage is not gonna work. So I'm gonna put the car up on the lift and make sure that fits before I tighten the bell housing bolts all the way. Now the aftermarket Z-bar mount right here bolts to the bell housing bolts. The problem with it is, it hits the header pretty badly. So, I could dent the shit out of the header to make it fit, but I'm thinking instead I'm going to trim it here and then weld it here to brace it. But it needs basically this whole corner cut off. Okay, after a whole lot of trimming, this is what I'm left with. Something that is likely not strong and will not be able to handle the impact of the clutch pivot right here. So I'm gonna have to brace this and weld in another piece of metal. But that's good because I can weld it on the inside to be out of the way of the header. Because this entire corner was hitting the header. So now I've sanded it off, I've cut it off, and I'm going to re-add that structure but closer inside so the header clears it. And it's gonna work flawlessly maybe. I have this piece marked so I can cut it and it'll hopefully sit right in there perfectly. Boom! And hopefully, we take this. Remember, we don't want this curve to be a problem, so we'll go on the inside. Look at this. I'm gonna have to cut a little more angle in it, but my goal is to replicate the existing angle and also get rid of these dumbass holes. I don't really know what the point of the holes are. Like, that's kind of stupid. But just eyeballing this, I'm gonna go put it up in the car and see if I think that'll fit. This thing's gonna be too strong when I'm done with it. Just like that, we have a not so beautifully modified, but also way stronger Z-bar pivot point. I mean, painted. Paint prep, brake clean. More grill paint. Boom, like the factory made it that way. I'm gonna let the hot welds bake that on for a minute, and then I'm gonna install it. Not too shabby. Let's put it in. It would suck if I just like installed that completely wrong. And I just modified it to go in backwards. Maybe my modification wasn't clearanced as flawlessly as I thought. Okay, bell housing tight.
and Z-bar mount tight. Dude, I just scuffed that thing perfect. She is clearing the headers by like a 1/16 of an inch. Bell housing bolts are all tight now. I'm gonna try to install the Z-bar, which is definitely gonna be a pain in the ass. Yes, so good. Very nice.
You get a nice little buzz when you do that. Nice little fuel buzz. Free hit, dude. A free high is a free high. I don't know why more people don't do it.
This is the Z-bar mount to the frame. It was supposed to have a clip on it, but the clip was gone and it was rusty, so I welded a washer to it. So it'll go like this and pivot just like this. Unless I have it backwards and it does it like this, which actually makes more sense. Yeah, this is how it goes. Next step is, before we put plugs in and everything, I want to get this thing at top dead center. So it's on the compression stroke, cylinder number 1. I'm cranking it over by hand until I feel the welding wire, which I have stuck in the spark plug hole, plateau. So it's rising with the piston, and as soon as that piston reaches the top of its stroke, the welding wire will stop moving momentarily before going back down. And I'm hoping that that will align with the markings on the damper. That feels like top dead center. Oh, dude. Tell me the welding wire trick doesn't work. That is right on 0. Now, motor mounts. Ooh, they're tight. I also got the clutch linkage connected. You know, the Z-bar works, the pedal works, the clutch maybe disengages. We're not gonna be able to tell for sure until the engine's running though. Now that the engine is bolted down, I'm gonna toss on an oil filter. Motorcraft FL-1A. That is the choice for the small block Ford. Starter, cable installed. I did buy a nice mini starter, but it's not here yet, so this one's gonna do for now. When tightening down the small block Ford starter, you just need extension city. That's what you need. Main engine ground on. We have done everything we need to do under the car, so now let's button up the top before we fire this up. Look who's cameraman now. Cameraman is over here working hard getting the plugs tight. It is especially sucky in here, but he's managed to start the hardest one and get it tight. So the plugs are now in. And now I'm over here messing with the distributor again, which cameraman will come over and help me explain in a minute. Finally, the spark plugs are all installed and all tight. And I think it's probably time I tell you what this motor even is. This motor is a 331 stroker, professionally built, allegedly, with a scat rotating assembly. It has 10.5 to 1 compression, it has a custom grind comp blower cam, and trick flow 170 cylinder heads. Now, I was gonna put my little tiny blower on this thing, but with the compression ratio on that engine and the size of this blower, it just would not be efficient. This is basically the smallest supercharger money could ever buy by B&M, but it also has a really bad flow design and it's just not gonna perform well with an engine of that capacity. Now, I was also on Marketplace and I might have found this because I do think it would look a lot more badass, and it's also safer to not worry about boost blowing this motor up yet. This is an old school Wii tunnel ram with dual hollies, already set up for a small block Ford, so hopefully I can toss it on there, fire it up, and it runs good. It's not gonna be that easy. I'm gonna have to jet it, I'm gonna have to mess with it, but wouldn't this just look badass in that car? I mean, this little supercharger did really well. It's really meant for like a lower compression stock motor, which it did perform great on, but this is just badass. High RPM screaming. I am aware it has a blower cam in it, which kind of sucks because that's not really built for RPM, but we're gonna see how much RPM she likes. All right, so let's not put that on yet and work on the distributor. Now, when putting a motor together, it's very important to have the right base timing, timing curve, and total timing. I played it super safe on that old 289 with the supercharger, and I think it was like 22 degrees total timing, and I'm going to change that, along with the timing curve, by once again playing with my MSD Pro Billet distributors, springs, and stop bushings. So what I'm gonna do is change the bushing and change the 2 springs. I have between 14 and 16 degrees initial timing, depending on what the idle and cranking is like. I'm going to go with one heavy silver spring and one light silver spring, which will give me 21 degrees of max timing on top of that 14 to 16 degrees initial, which will give me between 35 and 37 degrees total timing, which should be pretty happy with the tunnel ram, which does like high RPM. Who knows how it's actually going to perform? And I would be lying if I said I didn't actually ask ChatGPT for some tuning help. But, you know, I trust robots, so we'll see how this does. I'm taking out the retaining nut for the max timing stop bushing right now, which is very hard to get in. You'll see right now. Boom. I've taken the nut off. And I have my little green bushing right here, which I'm going to swap out for the blue bushing. That looks blue, right? Now the tough part is getting this bushing back in. Bushing on, baby washer on. And now to start the nut, I gotta get real tricky with my finger. Shit. I'm getting good at this. Alright, well, that wasn't as much of a pain in the ass as I thought. So now, get this back together. Then we will continue assembling. I'm getting excited, starting to get real. Got the intake gasket on, and I'm only adding a little silicone around the coolant passages, because they like to leak. And then I need to build a wall of silicone on the front and back of the engine valley for the intake to seal up on, and I don't really have that much silicone, but I'll make it work. Behold, the wall of silicone. You have to do this instead of using the gaskets that come with, they will leak, and this will not. But you really, really gotta goop it on. Like, you gotta mean it, you know? You gotta make a great wall. You gotta stack dimes, you know what I mean? Look at that. All right, heavy ass tunnel ram. I'm gonna have to climb in. Hey, remember when I painted this thing? Gotta get my sights on it in here. I'm gonna plop this thing straight down. Bada boom! Oh, baby. Dude, A-ball. Now she's starting to look cool. Hold on a minute. It always bugged me that we ran no hood and I only had one little pesky carburetor sticking through. Now we got two. Does a small block Ford need two carburetors? Nah, not really. Does it need a tunnel ram? Not at all. Does it look f***ing cool? Yes. Torquing this intake down, 22 foot-pounds. Torqued! Intake is installed. Now I just gotta toss the distributor on and wires, make sure there's oil pressure, fire it up. We have the engine at top dead center, so I'm gonna plop in the distributor here. Whoop, whoop. All right, we got pretty good turnability right there. Yeah, baby, starting to look like a 302 Ford! Now I'm installing the spark plug wires. I'm getting very excited because this thing might just run soon. We've got ourselves a fuel pressure gauge, and I've teed off the fuel line to feed both carbs. I've tested it and it does not leak. So now the last thing to do before we fire this thing up is put an oil pressure gauge in it, dump oil in it, prime it until we get oil pressure and see if it starts. This is the shop oil pressure gauge, notorious for testing new engines. When we fired noise complaint up for the first time, we read oil pressure on this gauge.
So it's only fair that we use this gauge again in this situation.
We got oil in it, baby. We're reaching that exciting time where we clear the tools off the car and start making shit happen. This thing has 5 quarts of 1540 synthetic in it. I like that thick shit. I'm gonna crank the motor with no spark until I see oil pressure, and then we'll see if it fires and we'll get a timing dial. I'm just gonna crank the motor. There's no spark. Hopefully it cranks too. I never hooked up the throttle linkage either. Ready? Come on. Give me some oil pressure, baby. All right. None quite yet, but she is bone dry in there. Yes! Yes! Oh, 50 pounds of oil pressure on a dry crank, baby. Let's hook up that sparkulator. I have no idea what the timing's gonna be like. It's around 0 degrees initial right now. I will plug in the coil. Guys, I'm getting nervous. Guys, it's a big deal. I'm excited. All right. We are on the tripod now, and it is officially time for the fire up. Cross our fingers. All right, so first I want you to just crank, and I'm gonna look at the timing mark. We're gonna leave the fuel off and just have spark on. Never mind, I forgot the fuel pump and MSD box are wired together. Oops. Crank it, see what happens. Oh, that was quick, babe. Give it another shot. Yeah, that already sounds fucking angry. Dude! Oh, she sounds mean! Oh, that doesn't sound like it around anymore.
I'm getting a better mark on my damper here because I cannot see.
We're gonna try again. I want to dial in the base timing at between 14 and 15, and we'll see how she sounds. Cameraman, you want to hop in there? Dude, that sounds insane. Like, this thing is gonna rip. You can hear and feel that 10.5 to 1 compression, baby. I promise you that. Oh, I wanna see if the clutch works, and I still can't see the timing mark. I'm having trouble dialing that in, and I also might have to take the distributor out and clock it forward a little bit more, because I think I've got all the spin I can spin right now, which is not great. We got some more advanced center. Let's see. Go forward, switch on. Hit that key. And this is definitely advanced now. I'm gonna back it off a hair because it seems cranky. We've been running it with no coolant for like a solid 1.5 minutes now, so I don't want to do much more. That sound of it barely wanting to run and the can chopping like a mother, that was us dialing the timing, I think. It was sounding pretty good and looking pretty close. She's definitely not too happy at this timing, but fire it up one more time, Terry. I'm gonna stop running it. She's warming up now, but it sounds crazy. Holy shit. Woo! High five, cameraman. That's a bad sounding 8-ball, isn't it? All right, I did run it a good bit, but we didn't get more than like 110, 120 degrees. It's not like I overheated it. But 8-ball runs. And holy shit, guys, it sounds really pissed off. Like, insanely pissed off. I have a feeling this is going to be a dangerously fast car. And I have so many other things to do to it, like a lot more work than just slapping this motor in and buttoning it up, which will happen in the next video because I have a feeling this one's already really long and we gotta be done filming it anyways. But that is such a huge victory. This thing sounds crazy. Like, cameraman, what are your thoughts, dude? She sounds pretty good, right?
I'm scared. I'm a little scared for when we get it on the road. I don't know. I'm excited.
Hey. This thing's awesome. Look at that, dude. Now, because it runs and it's not too hot, I'm gonna start it up briefly just to make sure the clutch works and the wheels spin. And that's the last time I'm gonna hear it, okay? I just wanna have that little victory, okay? And the clutch pedal is already off. I have a feeling my Z-bar might have come off. My clutch linkage, where'd you go? Oh, you fell right off because I forgot to put a cotter pin on you. See? There's supposed to be a cotter pin on that, that's why. All right, real quick. I just want to see if the clutch works. I'm just gonna put it right in first gear, fire it up. That's a win, dude. New clutch works, motor runs super nice. Thank God for Marketplace, and more specifically, thank you to the guy that sold it to me, if you're watching this. This thing is a bad motherfucker. Before we close the video off, I need one more tiny victory. A corny hood scoop that actually is needed for 2 carburetors. Ooh! It ball looks speedy. That's awesome. Well guys, as usual, what was supposed to be like a 2-day long engine swap turned into a 2-week thrash where I let so many things snowball, and you're going to see in the next video, I let things snowball even more to a lot of cosmetic modifications. I'm gonna change up the stance. I'm gonna do a lot to 8-ball in the next video, including drive it and beat the snot out of it and probably break a bunch of parts. I wanted to do that in this video, but hey, I'll take success where I can get it. Thank you for watching the best damn automotive content on YouTube. Cameraman and I are tired. We're gonna go home because we've been thrashing on this for 13 hours now, so it's time to call it a night. But guys, I appreciate you very much. Thanks for being here on the channel. If you want to watch more cool cars, check out the Patreon. If you want some cool merch, check out tomsrefurb.shop. And if you want a Speedy's Equipment boom tube, that's right, the only boom tubes money can buy, pretty much. Go check out Speedy's Equipment. I love you guys. Thanks for being here. Can we just take another minute? You want to rewind the video and watch that again? Because that thing sounds pissed off. Boom! Insert the video you know exactly what I'm talking about. Boom! Yeah! Cut it off! Love you. Bye.